Hola, estudiantes. Mi nombre es Señora Schwan. Just kidding. Math class won't be in Spanish today. But as you notice, my environment's a little bit different today. I'm recording your videos from my home office today because it's been raining so much that I have not been down to our classroom to tape videos. So hopefully this works out for you guys. I have my handy dandy little whiteboard here today, and we will be looking at lessons 102 through 105 today. Again, I will record them in different videos, and then you can start, or you can watch them as you do your homework as you want to. We also have a quiz this week, okay? So uploaded on Edmodo is quiz number 9. It's only 3 questions. You can download that and either print it out if you have a printer. If you don't, you can just copy the problems down. And then please send me a picture or PDF of your completed quiz with your work on it. And please send that as a private message on Edmodo so that all the student work is in the same place, please. Thank you. All right, so for lesson 102, it's called Adding Like Terms Part 2. So remember, a term is something that is separated by either a plus or minus sign. So in this equation right here that we have 2 terms. We have 4xy and we have 6xy, okay? I think this might be the first time we've been introduced to terms that have 2 variables with them. Don't be scared of them. It's just another pushing you a little bit further into algebra. So the number before the variables in this term, in all terms, is called the coefficient, okay? So we have a coefficient of 4, and that means we have 4 xy's. And then we have a coefficient of 6, which means we have 6 xy's. Now, you can only add xy's with xy's. You can only subtract xy's from xy's. So if we have 4 xy's and 6 xy's, when we put them together, how many do we have? We have 10 xy's, right? So we have 10 xy's. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Now, the first example we have says, oh, this is a good one. We have 2xy squared. We have 3y squared x. And then we have 7y, yxy. All right, and it's asking if these are like terms, okay? So this lends to a good discussion. Remember that y squared means what? It means y times y, right? Okay, and then this is one term, this is a second term, this is a third term. So they're just asking if these are like terms, okay? But they're trying to trick you here a little bit. So we have 2xy squared. Now, when we compare terms to see if they're like, they have to have the same things attached to the coefficient. So this one has a coefficient of 2. That can change. But then to be a like term, it can only have one x, and it has to have y times y, or y squared, okay? Does this 3, the coefficient of 3, does it have one x? And does it have 2 y's, or y squared? Sorry, not 2 y's, y times y, which is y squared. Yes. So what I would normally do if this was me doing a problem is I would rewrite this term as 3xy squared. Okay? And then, is it true that this coefficient has one x and 2 y's? Yes, so this could also be written as 7xy squared. Now, do these look the same? Do they look like they have the same variables attached to the coefficient? Yeah, so we would be able to add these if that's what they were asking us to do. So 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 7 is, we'd have 12xy squared, okay? And most of the time, you'll see these listed in alphabetical order or in what's called descending order, which we'll talk about at some other point. All right, so let's look at the next example. The next example says simplify by adding like terms. And we have 4x plus 3 plus 6x plus 4 plus 2xy plus 3yx plus 2. All right, so the first things first, this is when I like to get colors out, okay? And so I'm going to get a color out, and I am going to look at my first term. It's coefficient of 4 with 1x. And so I'm going to look through this list of numbers in our equation, and I'm going to circle everything that just has 1x. And it's just these two terms. So I have 4x's and I have 6x's. And if I were to put those together, I would have 10x's. Okay, now I'm going to look at my next term there listed, and it is a whole number of 3. So I'm going to go through and circle all of my whole numbers. All right, and remember that the preceding sign is attached to that number. So I have plus 3, plus 4, and plus 2. So 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So plus 9. And then my next term that I have is 2xy. So I have coefficient of 2, I have 1x, and I have 1y. Now, these are listed out of order on purpose to try to trick you, but is it true that they still just have 1x and 1y? Yes. So I'm going to add this together. And 2xy's and 3xy's is 5xy's. Now, again, like I've told you guys quite a few times, I forgot what I was going to say. Thinking, processing. Oh, I lost it. Darn it. All right. Well, anyways, we're adding like terms here. We have one more example. Let's look at the next example that says 4 plus 3x squared. 4 plus 3x squared plus 2xx plus 4x plus 7 and then plus 3x. Now again, I already can see they're trying to trick you with a couple things here, okay? So let's start with our first term, and it's a whole number. So I'm going to go through and circle all my whole numbers. I have 2 of them, so I have 4 plus 7 is 11. My next term is 3x squared. Now they're testing us here, okay? Because they've listed xx here. Well, x times x is what? It's x squared, okay? So this is really 2x squared. So I have 3x squareds and I have 2x squareds. And now when I add those together, I have 5x squareds. And then my last term is a coefficient with just an x, 1x. And so I have 4 x's and 3 x's. So together I have 7 x's. Now, when I said descending order, originally for our terms, when we list them, we usually take the one with the greatest power. So if I was going to rewrite this, how you're going to start seeing it as you move further onto algebra, you're going to have 5x squared plus 7x plus 11. All right, and so descending order means the variable with the greatest exponent, and then this one only has 1x, and this has no x's. So that's what we call descending order. All right, so sometimes these can be a little bit difficult. So don't be dismayed if you struggle with this. Just remember that whatever's attached to that coefficient, whatever's attached to the coefficient, so whether it's an x or a y or an xy or b or an ab, you can only add the coefficients if the variable matches exactly, okay? And always look for them to be tricking you with things like this. You got to think critically and ask yourself, okay, is x times x the same as x squared? Or what's going on there? Does that mean it's 4 x's? No, we know when two things are sitting next to each other, it means they're being multiplied. So x and x sitting next to each other means x times x, which means x squared. If you need a little refresher on that, remember we have x to the first times x to the first. And when we multiply, we add our exponents. So we have x to the 1 plus 1, which equals x squared. Okay? All right, hopefully that made sense. I'm here if you need help.